But if it's not good enough for my mum, then it's not good enough for anyone, and we need to do something about it.
There is no doubt that having people with a learning disability as full members of the team forces and causes us to think and work in a different way, both in terms of our practice as a team on a day-to-day basis. The work that we do as a team is improved enormously because of that.
42% of deaths of people with learning disabilities were premature, which means that if health services and other services had done their jobs properly, those people would probably have lived for at least an extra year. We also know that pretty much half of all deaths of people with learning disabilities were deaths which could have been avoided, either if health and social care had done their jobs properly, or if they were supported, people were supported to live lives which were healthier lives.
And the need for us to focus on celebrating what's good and being positive about that, but really addressing some of the problems that we do see in the quality of care in our inadequate and requires improvement services, that will take a collective effort from everybody involved in adult social care to get those services back to where we need them to be.
We want people with learning disabilities to be taken seriously than employers, because we said people in the NHS see people with learning disabilities as people they care for and support. And because I've been in the assessment and treatment unit myself, I said the way health staff treat people, how are you going to get respect if you don't give us a job properly and be part of your team?
I find in my job that a lot of people go into ATUs, they don't really need to be there, they've been there for a long time, and nobody really recognises what their rights are and listens to them as a person and what they want. Family involved is really, really important, and clearly it's missed, and it's just such a big thing.
Seems to be a really positive feeling about the event from everybody that we supported so far.
And this is my brother Adrian playing Frisbee the day after my 40th birthday party. And Adrian had a long and difficult life with an enduring mental health problem. And today is just utterly coincidentally, when I worked out what today was, the 10 years anniversary of the last time I saw my brother. Because 2 weeks later he died from suicide.
Every time you hear it, it remains as powerful, as inexcusable, as unexplainable. It's really helpful to come and sit in a room and be around people in practice, getting a sense of the impact on them, being able to relate that for students.
The key things for me about that service are they care about the people so much. The person-centred focus is amazing. They really didn't think that they were outstanding. They were, tears of joy when they found out that that's what we'd rated them as. But the reason why they didn't was because they know that they can do things better, and they're constantly looking to do things better. And that, I think, was absolutely inspirational.
Stephen went away for 3 days respite as I had the flu, and it took 350 days to get Stephen back home again. And when we eventually got to court, Justice Jackson judged that, in his final judgment, that all 4 deprivation of liberty authorisations that have been served throughout the year have been unlawful. And Stephen's Article 5 and Article 8 human rights have been breached.
Actually hearing it delivered in such a direct way was incredibly powerful. It's a constant reminder to always go back to people's experiences, to the reason why any of us do this kind of stuff.
The health service cannot do that unless it does it in partnership with social care, and the impact of social care and working in partnership with social care colleagues will absolutely dictate the success or otherwise of the work that we are trying to do. We can talk about strategic transformation, and we can talk about all sorts of things associated with services,
And the really important bit for us is how we don't get wrapped up in that, but actually remember that while we have to do all of that, this is about improving people's lives, and this is about improving the services to individuals.
I went to a care home recently that had a choir from the local school singing. It was just lovely. I mean, everybody kind of engaged in it, and they were all singing the old tunes. It was just fantastic.
Because I haven't forgotten that it's families and self-advocates where the voices need to be heard from. Because I spent life in an assessment and treatment unit, and it isn't the most pleasant place. And it's hard for people in there. And there's some people who don't need to be in those beds.
Some of the inpatient services that we have are absolutely fabulous, and some of the inpatient services that we've got, frankly, are not.
When we think about risk of doing something, we need to balance that with the risks of actually not doing anything. Very few people with learning disabilities die of having too much fun.
That really didn't recognise Stephen as a human being, let alone a human being with human rights. So Stephen came home on Christmas Eve 2010, and thank goodness, and never went back to the unit again. The experts came in January and February and did their reports, and they were overwhelmingly of the opinion that home was the best place for Stephen. The judge looked across to the barristers and said, well, why are we here? That's some sort of big existential question. This was the first time, really, the official solicitor said, well, Your Honour, we want you to look at the legality of what happened for the whole of 2010. Although Hillingdon completely kind of abused the DOLS process and the Mental Capacity Act, just to finish on, really, I do think the DOLS saved Stephen's life.
Have you had a good day? It looks like it's been, I'm sorry I wasn't here at the beginning, it looks like it's been a fantastic day. I'm afraid I've sort of joined a bit late in the day and wished I'd been here. We need to feel that we are empowered in what we do, that we support each other, that we know what our rights are in terms of what our expectations are as a profession. And that's not about sort of special pleading. We're here primarily for the people we serve. But if we're not empowered as a profession, if we don't believe in ourselves, how do we believe in other people? What is coming forward from the current policy and current government? We put that in the context of what we know about ethical practice, human rights practice, about the human rights conventions that we're part of globally, not even just within the EU, but globally. And those things are really important to us as social workers, that we understand them. That you can support and they can support you to build our human rights-led profession.